welcome to our fall 2021 club, I guess, info session. We used to call it a cellar hunt, and I used to dig around in the cellar and find something. But since you are already in our club and you have some of our wines for this fall, I'm just going to go ahead and dive right into that. So I'll be describing the 2016 vintage and some of the products from that vintage, the Pinot Noir specifically, that are in that club. But before I do that, I actually wanted to share some pictures with you of what's been going on at the winery for about the past, 6 months or so. So I'm going to put this up on the screen. This is our fall 2021 club overview. So we proceeded throughout 2021 with outdoor only tastings. We decided to take a somewhat conservative approach, I guess, to COVID and safety and continue to provide fun outdoors. Given that our grounds are so beautiful, that was our choice for this year. But, and those are starting to wind down now. The rains are coming. So we'll be doing those again by reservation only just the next 2 Saturdays. So tomorrow and then the Thanksgiving Saturday. I have a couple of special requests for Friday. So if you would like to come on Friday, just let us know. Those, we want to make sure that our club members are accommodated. We'll also continue to do pickups of your club if you've not picked up yet, by appointment anytime. We're not planning to travel for the holidays, so we will be here throughout and available to help you pick up your club. Any additional purchases are 20% off, so please take advantage of that with the holidays coming up. The next thing that I wanted to make you aware of is that we are doubling the size of our bathroom space. Our bathroom's been an issue for a while. It started off as a refurbished chicken coop that was the height of fashion in terms of bathrooms in the wine industry 15 years ago. But things have improved around us, and so we think it's time to improve our bathroom. So we'll be doing a couple of things with that. In the course of the past year during the pandemic, we did put the rain cover on it. So if you're waiting for the single stall, you're not standing in the rain doing that, which was kind of frustrating to us and our guests for a while. But this new bathroom will be an additional bathroom, and it will be fully ADA compliant. So our first bathroom was marginally ADA okay. This one will be ADA exceptional. The paving will happen soon, as the plans were just approved today by the county. So we're super excited. We can go in and do the plumbing work and do the paving work and have that open in the spring when things start back up. So we're excited to announce that. The other thing that's happened over the past year is that I've expanded my interest in mid-century modern dinnerware. So Steve and I started collecting mid-century modern dinnerware on our second date 34 years ago in Houston, Texas, right after we met. And we've shared that interest over the years in terms of collecting, but I never really had a proper display space. So last Christmas, Steve and Colin and Jillian got together and they designed this display space that you can see on the wall behind me in the picture. And so I started unpacking all the boxes and looking a lot at eBay and become a little bit obsessed with eBay, I can admit that, and filling in some gaps in the collection and telling the story of Russell Wright, who is the designer of the dinnerware that I collect. And so we're opening what I'm calling the Tiny Museum of Russell Wright, and we'll do that commensurate with reopening the tasting room in spring of 2022. So some of you may have seen those pictures. We used them to pour water in your glasses for many years, and now I kind of museumized them and taken them out of general circulation for use and just put them on the shelf where they can be beautiful together. The next thing that you should know is that we will continue the drive-through. So even though we won't have regular tasting hours, we will have drive-through hours on Saturdays, 12 to 4, but more importantly for our club, if you want to come by and pick up, just make an appointment and drive-through and we'll pop it right in your trunk, easy peasy. The next thing you should know is that we are offering the Holiday Duo again. So this is a very popular product last Christmas, so we kept it through Mother's Day and Father's Day, and so it's essentially 2 bottles of wine, a bubbly and a Pinot Noir, at a $95 flat rate that includes shipping, ground shipping. We're also continuing our complimentary shipping on case orders, and we can do some discounting on that too. If you have some purchases of some of our specialty products, we can help you with that. The most important thing is the banner on the bottom. I'm sure supply chain issues are no surprise to anyone, and they're affecting us as well. They're affecting us at the shipping hub and the actual shippers themselves, FedEx and UPS, slower than ever. So we're being advised that December 3rd is really the cutoff pardon me, to guarantee that your products will arrive by the holiday. Now, there's every chance that if we took an order a week later that it would get there, but we wouldn't be able to guarantee it. So please keep in mind, put that December 3rd in your thought hopper so that we can help you with any holiday gifts. We do a lot of corporate gifts. So if you have a list of clients you want to send to, and just for your own enjoyment over the holidays, be sure to hit us by that date if you want something shipped. And then some of you may already know this, but our lovely, adorable JoJo, our wine dog, was featured in USA Today. So they did a feature in August of this year, the 30 most adorable wine dogs, or dogs that you can meet at wineries. And so JoJo was even the cover girl. She was the top picture, the one that you see there on the left. So we're pretty excited for her. She's come a long, long way in terms of her guest visiting skills. And so we're introducing her slowly to people this year. She is a very friendly dog, and she wants you to be just as happy as she is with that big tail. So that can cause some havoc with glassware on low tables, and we like to minimize havoc while you're here tasting. So she's been up here with us. A few of you have had a chance to meet her and interact with her, and she does kind of chill out after a while. So we may have to have her run some laps up and down the driveway or something before she comes up next summer. But I think by next summer, she'll be even more chill and she'll be able to visit with you more. And she is an adorable wine dog, and she was in USA Today. So we're excited about that. Finally, in news today, Colin is 26 years old. So we just want to say happy birthday to Colin, our athlete, scholar, artist, all around good guy, good big brother to his little sister, Jillian, and just the neatest person. I just really like to hang out with him. So I thought I'd wish him a happy birthday. And thank you all for joining us for that little slideshow. Now I'm going to stop sharing and get to the really important stuff. So we want to go over the 2016 Pinot Noir because your club contains a horizontal of those wines. So as you know, each year we make a signature and an estate, and we do that by barrel tasting, and we divide those based on signature being a very approachable, kind of typical of our terroir, and the estate being a little bit bigger and a little bit more opulent. Every so often, we have a barrel or two that we think are amazing, and we call those wit reserves. That one's always in very limited supply. 2016 was a wonderful year, and we did have all three. We can only make the wit when we remove those barrels from the common barrel set. We can only do that if it doesn't affect signature and estate. They still have to be substantial and beautiful wines. So we were able to do that. 2016, from a harvest standpoint, was really symbolic of the entire year, and the key word was early. We had early bud break, we had early fruit set, and we had early harvest. Everything was pretty much in by October. Smaller berries led to a really good skin to fruit ratio, which is nice for color density and texture, but it also leads to poor yield. So there wasn't as much of this as we've seen in some prior years. Everything came through with beautiful ripeness and full flavor, even though it was early. So there was no need to hang through the kind of torturous rain of October that we had that year. We had full flavors, full ripeness, moderate alcohol, and just enough acid to make them really lively. So we're excited about them. In this collection that you have, it is 100% Styring fruit from our farm. It's as bold as you would expect, but it has some subtle layers and some soft edges, especially as you go from signature to estate to wit reserve. You see more of that softness, more of that opulence, what I like to think of as opulence. And as I always expect with the beautiful Pinot Noir from Steve, the flavors kind of unravel across your palate. So it's an ever-changing experience as you taste it that I find really pleasing, and I hope you do too. So I'm going to go through I'm going to talk about all three of the wines specifically, but I'm going to pour and taste two of them. So I'm going to start with the signature. No, it's not a very good video. That's the signature. It's the white label. I guess that's what's important about that. I'm going to pour just a little bit. Put that bottle back as best I can. There we go. All right. So Wine Enthusiast was very excited about all three of these wines. This one received 91 points. We made 372 cases. That's a case of 12. And this one does everything that you would expect. So because it's signature, it's going to be more in that cherry fruit and that bright cherry fruit. The Wine Enthusiast talked about pastry. I get that a little bit more on the nose than in the taste itself. And then they talk a little bit about peppery herb. I agree with that too. So the goal with signature is that it be approachable. And I like to approach it right now. I can definitely get the oak in there. It's approachable and it's going to appeal to a broad range of people. So if you have friends over, if you're visiting with family who aren't as familiar with Pinot Noir, definitely going to like this wine. It's an excellent way to start loving Pinot Noir. It's also, in my opinion, really good with simpler foods. So honestly, I might just take some French bread and toast it up with butter. I like salted butter. I know that's not the purview of chefs and tastemakers. They all want unsalted butter, but give me a little bit of salt and I'm going to be pretty happy with this. I would even drink this with nothing at all. So if you have an occasion that's very wine forward and not as food forward, this is an excellent choice for that. The wine I'm not going to taste tonight is Estate. Our Styring Estate Pinot Noir 16 is sold out. So those of you in the 4-bottle to 6-bottle club, you'll receive 2 to 3 of those. In the case club, you're going to receive 3 to 4 of those, depending on whether you pick it up or we ship it to you. And so I didn't have one to open because they're gone. So the ones that you have are a very precious commodity. It was 92 rated, again, in Wine Enthusiast, and we only made 168 cases. And I guess that's why we're sold out. So I felt like I just didn't have one to open. We do have it in magnums, and our magnums are 110 a piece. You can get some shipping discounts on that, though we don't typically honor club discounts on magnums. So for the Estate, the fruit, Wine Enthusiasts talked a little bit about it not being as ripe as the 15 vintage, but I think it actually delivers a very, very dense flavor. So they talk about it being a broad spectrum of red flavors. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I think it's delicious. What Steve said about it is he believes it's one of the most integrated wines he's made, where the flavor and the alcohol and the acidity are all in harmony and creating this integration. There's a touch of earth on the finish that Steve talks about. And therefore, we tend to serve it with what we call dusky foods. So dusky foods would be things in that mushroom truffle zone. So a mushroom risotto or truffle cheese, or I think in the card that you were sent with your club about making mushroom quiche and putting some truffle oil on the crust and a little bit of salt. It's really decadent with that. And that wine will totally hold up to anything in that zone. So the next wine that I'm going to taste is the Wit Reserve. So Wit Reserve, as I mentioned a moment ago, it's always a barrel or two in the cellar and the barrel set that we think are performing particularly well. I think what's always striking to me about Wit Reserve is the nose. It always imparts, I think it's because we start with a lot more new oak in Wit Reserve than in some of our other vintage lines. It imparts some aromatics that are more than I expect from Pinot Noir. So, and I'm getting that here. So you're getting that woody aromatic, but it's also got a slight vanilla on it that I really appreciate. So of course, as you move through our portfolio from Signature to Estate to Wit Reserve, the berry profile is getting darker. So you're going from kind of red cherry to black cherry in the Estate, and then true like blackberry, black cherry in the Wit Reserve. So it's going to be that dense, luscious fruit. There's a touch of what wine enthusiasts call cola and mocha, and I agree with that. And maybe my vocabulary is just not as good as theirs. So I usually use the word vanilla because I can tell it's got something other than berry kind of undergirding that taste and making it lush and dense. Steve calls this a complex wine. Lush, dense, and complex are the 3 words that he uses. So he would pair this with something grilled and probably a meat that's a little on the not sweet side. So something like lamb or venison or even grilled portobello mushrooms that you could brush with a reduction sauce. If any of you have attended our club events in the past or have made lamb meatballs, or I think they were lamb meatballs, yeah, with a wine reduction sauce. I really like to reduce the wine kind of 2 cups down to half a cup or even less. Really, really reduce it down. and add in some garlic, salt, and pepper is really all you need, but you can do that to taste and it'll go great with this wine. And that one, I think that one's going to come to the house tonight because I think we're having chicken teriyaki, which may not be on my list of totally grilled meats, but I think it's going to be great with that. So now I've got 2 mostly full bottles to finish off tonight and tomorrow night. So that's everything that I had planned to share. We thank you so much for being a part of our club. I want to know how much we've appreciated you, especially over the last 2 years. They've been kind of tough out here on the farm, but we're hanging in there. And we're really looking forward to 2022 when we can reopen the tasting room with safe protocols. We're taking our time to figure out what that is, when that is, and continue to enjoy the wines with you and with all of our friends. So good night and thank you so much. Bye now.